Hello and welcome to the first of a series of videos from Orktober. What better way to start off Orktober with the man himself, the legend, Ghazghkull Thraka, the prophet of Gork and Mork. It's capable of rousing entire planetary populations of orcs into a frenzy of conquest and bloodshed. He's the single most influential greenskin in the galaxy, and billions march to war in his name. Now this is the older model, this is not the newer model that you can pick up. And when I say pick up, I don't think he's quite available separately. But what I will be going through is the new rules for the new model. I won't be using the rules that you find in the 2018 Codex. So he actually got a new model, I think at the very start of this year, or the very end of last year, but I think it was this year. You won't find him on the Games Workshop website at all, unfortunately. I do hope Games Workshop release the new model separately. There are quite a few changes in the rules for the new model and the one found in the Codex. But what I thought I'd do is carry on with my usual format of miniature reviews. And when Ghazghkull comes out, I'd probably put him at a £30 to £35 price point. He's quite a big model. I'm not quite sure how much this Ghazghkull cost me back in the day. I would have thought maybe 15, maybe £16 or so. He's an all metal model. I really like him. I love this big power claw and the big custom shooter thing. I painted this many years ago. I don't think there's even any highlighting or any shading, but I think I did an alright job at the time, especially with the bone effects on the big skull there. But yeah, you can see that there's hardly any shading or hardly any highlighting on the metal or the black, and some of the metal parts are pretty shiny as well, so they haven't been drilled down. But he's a heavy model, you can tell. He's all metal, he weighs an absolute ton, and he's on this, I say small base, he's on like this Terminator base. I don't know how they managed to fit him on, but they did. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll have a look at some size comparisons between him and I say the newer models. I've got a selection of war bosses, so here are some of them. He's only a little bit bigger really than the war bosses. This is an old war boss, that one. This is a really old war boss. Again, this model's in metal, but he's definitely a bit bigger than a normal war boss. And then if you look at these, I'd say this is one of the newer ones. Yeah, you compare the brand new model to the older one, and much bigger. Anyway, here is, for instance, Big Mech in Mega Armor, and he's only a little bit bigger than a Big Mech, but the feet are much bigger, and the claw is as well. So comparing him to other orcs, here are some Mega Armored knobs. So he's a fair bit bigger than a Mega Armored knob, and then here is a normal Orc boy, bigger than an Orc boy as well, much bigger. And just for the giggles, comparing him to a Snot, a Grot, or a Gretchen, whichever you prefer. I prefer Gretchen, but there you go, that's where he comes up to then. I'd like to compare him to the usual three Stooges. I've got the normal Legacy Space Marine on the left, Sly Marbo in the middle, and then a Primaris on the right. Yeah, no doubt the newer model is way bigger than a Primaris, but he's still bigger than a normal Primaris if you were to use him in a game, and he's still got a fair amount of presence. Okay, and the final part of this review for the first video of Orktober will be the rules. I'll be using his new rules. So he is a power points cost of 14. He's obviously an HQ choice. He's one of these models whereby his remaining wounds affects the rest of his stat line. So he starts off with the 12 wounds, and if he's got between 7 and 12, his movement speed is 7 inches, which is pretty fast actually. His strength is 7, and he's got 5 attacks. If it's between 3 and 6 wounds, then his movement speed is 6 inches, strength 6 and attack 6. And then finally, when he's only got 1 to 2 wounds, his movement speed drops down to 5 inches, his strength is only 5, but his attacks go up to 7. So the less wounds he has, the more damage you put on him, the more attacks he gets, which is fantastic. Speaking of which, his weapon skill is a 2+. His ballistic skill, he still can't hit the back of a barn door, it's only 5+. His toughness is 7, he's got 12 wounds, his leadership is good at 8, and his save is 2+. You'd expect that in that armour. He's a single model equipped with Mork's Roar, Gork's Claw, stick bombs. Only one of this model can be included in your army. Mork's Roar is a 36-inch range, assault 12, strength 5, AP -1, damage 1 weapon. Lots and lots of DACA there with your 12 shots. Gork's Claw is a melee weapon that doubles the strength by 2. That doubles the strength, so you're going to be looking at strength 14, AP -4, and damage of 4. That's horrific. Stick bombs work as usual, so a range of 6-inch, grenade D6, strength 3, AP 0, and a damage of 1. Abilities, he's got quite a few, so we'll go through them. Here we go, Mob Rule, DACA, DACA, DACA. You've got to see the Orc Codex for that one. Great War. Friendly Orc infantry units within 6 inches of this model can be chosen to charge with even if they advance this turn. In addition, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of models in friendly Orc infantry units whilst their unit is within 6 inches of this model. If their unit made a charge move this turn. That's amazing. The boss is watching. When a friendly Orc unit within 6 inches of this model fails a morale test, this model can restore order in a brutal display of violence. If it does, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds and that morale test is treated as having been passed. That's pretty horrific. Prophet of Gork and Mork. This model has a 4+ invulnerable save. In addition, this model can only lose a maximum of 4 wounds each phase. That's very nice. And the 4+ invulnerable is decent too. Goths is the best. Reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made with melee weapons by models in friendly Goth Orc units whilst their unit is within 6 inches of this model. And Grand War Boss. This model can be included in an Orc detachment without preventing any other units from that detachment from gaining a clan culture. Note, however, that this model does not benefit from any clan culture unless the clan culture selected for that detachment is the Goth's clan culture. So that makes sense. Keywords: Orc, Goth, character, monster, war boss, Ghazghkull Thraka. So there you go, very powerful unit model. Best off putting him in a transport to get him into the thick of it quickly. However, he does have a movement speed of 7 inches, so he's going to charge very quickly and he's going to buff all of your other Orc infantry models around. His weapons are very decent, you know, 12 shots with that Mork's Roar, and then a baseline of 5 attacks at strength 14 is strong too. And I like the fact that he's got a 2+ normal and a 4+ invulnerable, and he can only take 4 wounds of damage per turn as well. So yeah, very survivable unit. Although he doesn't repair his wounds, he does pump out more attacks the more damage he takes. Absolute incredible unit. I'm surprised Games Workshop haven't released him separately yet. I'm assuming that they may well do, probably with the release of the new codex at some point. What do you guys think of the model and the new model, and comparing the new model to this one? I hope this was a bit of a blast from the past. Hope you enjoyed the video, the first of many during October. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. For Gork and Mork.